Hey scholars, hope y'all are doing well. Today we're going to be talking about text evidence and we're going to be reviewing asking and answering questions. So this is really important when we're taking a test like the EOG, that we are using our text to go back and actually make sure we have the correct answers. So we've talked about this many times before. I just need to see that y'all are using this, that you are getting the right answers, and that you are understanding that the text is where our answers are located. Okay, so before we review, let's just focus on some of these trigger question words, the 5 W's, and then the word how, so that we can remember what these questions help us answer. So the first one that we're going to talk about is when. So when I see the question when, you notice Miss Esther has a clock here. It is telling me that my answer is going to be a time, a date, or a simple morning, afternoon, evening. Okay, so when tells me something to do with time. So when we look at our answers, if it does not tell us a time, then it's not a right answer. Okay, so when means some sort of time, some sort of date. The next question is where. If you see this question, then your answer should be a place, a location. Okay, so when it says, where do you go to school? You're going to say Fairview Elementary. Where do you live? You're going to give your address. Okay, where does your mom work? You're going to tell me a place. Okay, so the question where means a location. Who. If your question starts with who, your answer is going to be a person. Okay, so let's think about that. When we have a question and it starts with who, your answer is going to be a person. So make sure you're paying attention to that. The next one is what, which is a little bit harder, but typically these answers are right there in your story. Okay, so if I said, what is your favorite color? You're going to tell me whatever that is. Or, what did the character do? You're going to be able to go back to the story. What does this word mean? You're going to be able to go back to the story and find that word. The next one is why. Okay, why did something happen? Why did the character do that? Why did this person discover this place? So sometimes you have to think about this one a little bit, but sometimes it's also a right there question. Okay, so we want to pay attention to those first words in our questions. So let's practice. So today in the Nearpod, you are going to be reading a story about St. Patrick's Day. This is a nonfiction story. That means when you read it, the purpose of you reading it is to learn something new. So after you read this article, you should learn something new about St. Patrick's Day and how it got started and how it's celebrated. So if you notice, the first thing Ms. Esther's done is I have highlighted the title, okay? The title tells me a lot. It's very important that you always pay attention to the title. So Ms. Esther is going to read this to you in the next slide, okay? But I also want you to pay attention to the questions. All of these questions start with those important words. Who, meaning a person. What, meaning it's going to be a right there answer. Where, a location. Why, that's something you have to think about, okay? It might not be right there, but you should be able to use the story's resources to figure it out. How did something happen? Or in this case, it's asking you for a specific answer. And then when, that's going to be a date, a time, okay? So in the next slides, you're going to use the correct color and you are going to highlight your answers. Make sure you hit submit after each one.